Welcome to the podcast for Grace Christian Fellowship. We're really glad you found us here online. We're a thriving contemporary church in Ferguson, Guelph, Ontario, seeking to live our lives as a family on mission. We hope you enjoy this week's message and pray that you would be impacted by God's Word today.
I hope that you have either had a wonderful Valentine's date or you're about to have one tonight or Monday. Teresa and I had a beautiful date last night. We've been married for 45 years. I've been happily married for 45 years. Teresa's been happily married for about 20. Took me a while to figure some things out. It's better now. My Punjabi neighbor invited me out to coffee. Cyber tech guy, cybersecurity guy inside Bell, like super intelligent. And I know he's been thinking about starting his own business and in the cyber tech world. And he's, kind of hinted that he wouldn't mind some coaching. What's that? I thought it was going to be that. And so we went out for coffee and I'm asking him about, how it is for him and what about his career, what's his aspirations. And it's just clear to me that this is not what he wants. And it is like, he's just seeming more and more uncomfortable. And finally he says, I just want to know how you live. I want to know how you live. And I just began describing my day. Well, I do this and I do this. And he said, this is exactly what I want to hear. And it just opened up the most beautiful conversation about God and spirituality and the good news. And I thought, he saw something. I have no idea what he saw, but I must have been marked somehow by beauty, that he saw something there. Are we marked by beauty? A beauty that our neighbors can detect. My question today is there something inside the holy, holy, holy that is beautiful and marks us with beauty? That's the question. I had to know that answer to that question because last spring, whenever the worship band would be singing songs about holy, 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 I'd be standing at the back and I was compelled to bow down. I was compelled to get small and get smaller and smaller. And in those moments, there was a radical surrender happening inside of me. My future, my business, my belongings, like everything, there was this crazy submission and a tenderness that was coming out of those times. And it was clearly linked to the holy, holy, holy. That's what was unhinging me. But I will tell you that holiness did not always have that effect on me. And I'm not sure about you. When you hear the word holiness, where does your mind go to? Because for some of us, it's not beauty. It's not that at all. One of my earliest memories was this. Shh, don't you know this is a holy place? Anybody get one of those ever? My young mind came to a conclusion. There's a lot of anger and rage in holiness. And the Bible helped back that up a little bit. The story of the priest who goes into the Holy of Holies, make sure there's bells on there. We got to be able to hear whether he's still moving, because if he does something wrong, and let's make sure we have a rope around his waist too so we can haul him back out. You do not mess around with the holiness of God. My wife, when she was growing up, she was not allowed to be involved in any extracurricular activity, like any sort of volleyball after school. No, because we are holy and we do not mix with the people of the world. Harsh rules. harsh regulations. The cart is getting tipsy, and the guy reaches out his hand to steady the cart. Bam. Struck dead. There's something about holiness that it's terrifying. That was, for David and all the dancing community, that was a buzzkill on that day, yes? Harsh, severe, like random acts of violence. That was the spring. I'm being unhinged whenever the band is playing Holy, Holy, Holy. Surrender, submission, tenderness. And in the summer, I started exploring what really is this holy, holy, holy thing. And I'm going to ask you if you would worship with me. I'm going to put what I was thinking about in the summer up here. And if we could just read it together. Yeah? It's not deep liturgy or anything. But if you could just come with me, it starts off for me with awe. And it is, so let's do this together. There is no one who loves me the way you do. Holy, holy, holy. No one has the perspective you do, God. Holy, holy, holy. There's no person alive who is as honest with me as you are, Jesus. Holy, holy, holy. Your beauty and attractiveness is matchless, God. Holy, holy, holy. No one I know is as compassionate and merciful as you. Holy, holy, holy. Your justice is brilliant, breathtaking, and redemptive. Holy, holy, holy. And this next slide. Keep going. The excellence of your angels is astounding, O God, but it is a dark shadow compared to your excellence. Holy, holy, holy. The force of gravity is immense, O God, but it is like a fridge magnet compared to the magnetic force of your love. Holy, holy, holy. A mother's words of kindness bring warmth and light, but they are a candle, and you are the sun. Holy, holy, holy. The loyalty of a friend runs deep, but it is a pond, and your loyalty is the ocean. Holy, holy, holy. You are so uniquely different and categorically other from anything else you have created. Holy, holy, holy. This whole summer, I experienced awe of something that was so beyond, so other that I couldn't fathom it, but somehow I was touching it. You can all relate to this. Like you've all been on your own journey of the holy, holy, holy. So that's happening through the summer, through the fall. This is affecting me. And then we go into our week of prayer and fasting here at the church. Was that not something? Ten days after the last day of fasting, it was the 27th of January. I was awakened at 4 a.m. in the morning, and something was stirring inside of me. I went downstairs, and all of this we just read is working inside of me, and I'm being attracted into something, and I bow down, and I'm completely undone. What I mean by that is, against the backdrop of all of that, I see I am paralyzed by the fear of man. I love pleasure and comfort. I am addicted to attention. And it just, I could go on and on and on, but deeply, deeply in touch with, I'm hooped. I am undone. I had never had an experience like this. And it was in that I felt God, I had a choice. Do I separate from this or do I connect with this? And I think that's what that holy, holy, holy is attractive and terrifying at the same time. And so by God's grace, I just cast myself right into it. And what was happening then is that I am the utterly other, the utterly beyond is utterly touching me in that moment. And this is what happened. You don't have to read this. You certainly may. I utterly accept you. So if the holy is that utterly other, then it translates into, Brady, I utterly accept you. I am beaming with delight over you. I am utterly, prodigally, generously showering my mercy on you. I am utterly satisfied with you. I offer my friendship to you. I am utterly interested in you. I'm fascinated with you. I am utterly jealous for you, for your heart. I am utterly challenging you. Fulfill my purposes for your life. I am utterly honest with you. I tell you the things no one else will. I am utterly releasing you to be all you were meant to be. I'm attracted. I'm undone. Now I'm touched. Can you picture Jesus speaking these phrases over you? You can, can't you? It's not just, I have a fair amount of emotion for it's like utterly delighting in you, utterly infusing you with grace, utterly leading you into the fullness of purposes. And so what it started off was all of these nouns: love, grace, mercy, justice. That's where it started off last spring and summer. But it quickly turned to all of these verbs. I'm not saying God is not a noun, but I'm saying everything in God is moving. Everything in God is dynamic. God is very active when it comes to you. I'm not just love. I'm loving you. I'm delighting in you. I am inventing encounters for you and I to experience together. I'm thinking about you constantly. In God, it goes beyond, the nouns, the love, the grace. You can actually access God's grace as an object without any relationship with God. All you have to figure out is that you just receive it by faith. All of these things are that freely given that if you wanted to, you could just extract them. That's how scandalous God's grace is. That's how reckless his love is. That God would make himself that vulnerable that mankind could take him for granted. But the movement is from all of these nouns to the verbs. And it actually goes towards something more, which is he's leading us to not just receiving all these things, but he wants to relate to us. Yeah. So, God, we actually enjoy this companionable silence together, where there doesn't feel like there's any need for either of us to talk. You know what this is like. We delight in each other's company. We actually really respect each other. We're honest and vulnerable with each other. God and I partner with each other. We work really well together. We're devoted to each other. We want to spend the rest of our lives together. It moves from all these things that we can just get to this beautiful dynamic receiving, to actually finding our absolute contentment in relationship with him. But then it even goes, for me, deeper than this. We'll go to the next one. It's like, we're one. You and me. I'm and you. At the center of holiness is utter peace, utter contentment. I feel utterly enough, utter rest, utter stillness. Starts off with this crazy things flying around and beasts and eyes, and it goes to, when you get to the very center of it, it's utter peace. It's utter stillness. It's utter contentment. So here's then what came next. God was showing me that sometimes we can see that holiness is this: God cannot look upon sinful man. God must basically quarantine himself from sinful beings. And the Holy Spirit was saying, you picture Jesus inside this protective isolation unit, like a big bubble going from town to town. It's like, thank God my Father gave me this bubble, because there's lepers and there's gluttons and there's tax collectors. I don't want to get infected by greed. I don't want to get infected by lust. This woman who wants to wash my feet. I don't want to get infected by Peter's mother-in-law's fever. I don't want to get infected by the demoniac. Would you bow down and worship a Jesus like that? Is that what holiness is? Jesus touches the leper. Leprosy does not infect Jesus. Jesus infects the leper. Jesus is touched by a lustful woman. He is not infected by lust. His purity infects the lustful woman. He encounters the demoniac. He is not infected by the demon. The demoniac is infected by Jesus. The holiness of God is so contagious. It is so contagious. It's so contagious that in the Isaiah passage where Isaiah is undone, holy, 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 the whole earth is filled with his glory. That's where this is going. The contagion of God's holiness, the whole earth is filled with his glory. You okay so far? Okay. We're going to bring us in for landing soon. The next thing God was showing me is the beauty of his holiness is there's all of these divine feminine traits and divine masculine traits. We are, of course, made in his image, right? Male and female. Every one of us. Does this make you feel a little squishy, guys? I'm sorry. But we have this incredible kindness, this attentiveness, this compassion, this empathy, this patience, this nurture, this delight. I've watched my daughters with their infants. When they look into that little baby's, delight is just beaming out of their eyes. Compassion, kindness. All of that we have in God. And on the other side, his might, his justice, his power, his purpose, his challenge, his commission, his growth. It's like we experience not just one or the other. God holds these two things in tension, and they do not need to be resolved. The power of the Trinity is in the very holding of those two things in tension. Those of you who have kids that you're still raising, please, for the love of God, an ecosystem of high challenge and high support. If you just give support and no challenge, I guarantee you they will be living in your basement at the age of 32 and you will still be doing their laundry. All challenge, no support, they will feel abandoned and they will never want to hang out with you. God shows us it's all about this beautiful, holy mixture of the divine feminine, the divine masculine. And so this kind of holiness, it does not absorb us. It does not dissolve us. It intensifies us. C.S. Lewis has got this book, and he writes about these people in heaven, and they are kind of wispy. They have not yet been made solid like believers have. And they're walking on the grass, and the grass in heaven is so unbending and so unyielding that it's sharp to their feet. One of these wispy, ghost-like people tries to pick up a leaf, and it is impossible. It's so heavy, the leaf. The rain in heaven on the wispy people feels like bullets. They go into the water, and the water is immovable. Everything in heaven is so substantial. But to those who have been made solid, it's just the beautiful stuff of life. So the holiness of God, it intensifies us. It amplifies, it enhances who we were really meant to be. I've had the privilege of meeting with Kai and Josh and Mike Groff for a year and a half or something like that. And we don't meet all the time, but we've had some incredibly powerful times. And the divine feminine and the divine masculine have created some very significant breakthroughs for us. And I don't think I would be overstepping to say that we, tell your story here. We've told everybody our entire life story. There's that vulnerability, but it's in that place of you are utterly accepted here. You are utterly safe here. We utterly have your back here. And in that environment, we bring out all of our stuff. And then there comes a point where the divine masculine shows up and says, stop working at Muskoka Woods. Because it's time. God has a call on your life to pastor. And this is the time you need to step into that. And I think that was God. That was the holiness of God marking you with beauty for the next chapter. There was a time when Josh was just perseverating around, do I go to Toronto and go to the firefighting there? It's like, yeah, but the whole commuting together, what's that going to do to the family? And it's like the other three of us just going, are you crazy? Like, hold out for Waterloo. What are you even thinking about? Do you remember this? It's like, if you want our opinion, and so the divine feminine is that welcome, that invitation that you can actually be completely vulnerable here. But it's, Jesus encounters the adulteress. They're about to stone her, writes in the sand. And then they all go away, he turns to her and says, where are the people who are going to condemn you? They're all gone. Here's the divine feminine. Neither do I condemn you. Divine masculine, now go and stop sinning. Now, can you imagine? We've talked a lot so far about worship, but now we're talking about family, aren't we? Worship, family, mission. And we're talking about what if we were the kind of family that made each other more solid? Where you walked away from an encounter with the people you meet with, and you are more substantial. You are more of who you really were meant to be, because people are saying, you are utterly welcome. You are utterly delighted in. We hold out for your highest good. We will hear you. We will accept you. And because you belong, stop shape-shifting. Stop trying to fit in. You already belong. You are valued. You are significant. So stop with the perfectionism. We could be a community where we walk out of here marked by beauty because we bring both. So, 3 stories. Moses sees a burning bush, is attracted by the holiness. God speaks out of the bush, and Moses is terrified. But God continues to touch him with a message of, I am commissioning you. Isaiah encounters the creatures, holy, 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 the whole earth is filled with, and he is undone. I am a man of sinful lips, and I live within a people of sinful lips. I am undone. The angel goes and gets a coal. I'm going to touch your lips. And then I'm going to send you to this nation. We're attracted. We are undone. We are commissioned. The Apostle John, the island of Patmos, the disciple that Jesus loved, encounters the Son of Man, and he falls like a dead man. The first thing Jesus does is says, don't be afraid. Get up. Don't be afraid. I know you're undone, but I'm going to touch you with a coal. Get up, and commissions him. I want you to write this. Here's the holy, 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 is to attract us. And then we are undone. But that's not where God leaves us. God then commissions us into the purpose for our life. The fire is interested in the bush being fully bush, revealed, vivified, illuminated. That's what holy means. Not the otherness that erases, but the otherness that intensifies. Not the presence that seeks to overwhelm, but the presence that seeks to draw you forth into who you really are. I think what God has for us this morning is an invitation. Those messages that were not so helpful around holy is punitive. Holy is critical. Holy is harsh. Holy is violent. Could we recalibrate those and say that holy is all of the beauty of all the hard stuff and the soft stuff, all the feminine, all the masculine, that God is wanting to mark us so that we could be the type of family that solidifies each other, We could be the type of person where our Punjabi neighbor says, I want to know how you live. Clearly, it's not Brady Wilson. Clearly, I was marked by beauty. I understand that. And I think that with our neighbors, the good news is Jesus is welcoming you. Jesus is inviting you. Jesus loves you. Jesus right now is accepting you. And then the other side, which is, so stop sinning. Stop resisting and receive what is given to you. I think we could be that kind of a neighbor that cares enough to give both. Worship, family, mission. I think holy, holy, holy is how we share the good news.
Thanks for listening to this week's podcast. All of our information about what's happening at Grace, along with resources, our vision, and more, can be found online. Just go to igrace.ca.